Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today I'm continuing my solo campaign using OD&D called The Hero and the Hobbit. This one's a little bit more narrative than the other parts of the Song of the Mapper, and much like with the Rangers, The Hero and the Hobbit had that problem where I missed about 2 months of play. So we're going to go into this one a little bit narratively. I did talk about it in session 1 of the Rangers, if you want to jump back. Session 1 of this chunk of the Rangers, if you want to jump back and see how I decided this. But basically, I've decided that we're going to go back in time for a moment, narrate through to get us through to today. So today we're going to sit down with some oracles and some dice, and we're going to get the hero and the hobbit out of that little village they stopped in and hopefully somewhere safe. Okay, so if you missed the last couple of episodes, or maybe one, I don't know how many it's going to be, you may have missed me talking about the fact that I generally run this in 1-to-1 time, but life kicked in, and basically these guys were supposed to be active again on 7/15. It is now October the 6th. So it doesn't make sense necessarily for them to have sat around for 3 months, and I rolled some dice and did some other things in the other video I talk about, and what we determined was, because this is my more narrative part of the campaign, I'm going to actually catch them up to current time in a more kind of loose manner using the mythic deck and also the deck of signs and some other oracles. We're going to kind of narrate through the system effectively, or the process, to get them caught up to today. Ultimately, the goal, if you remember, or I'm also refreshing to myself, so let's just do a little summary of what's happening in our active players. So Wilbur is an old adventurer who had basically left a party member behind. The party went with Wilbur and that party member's child to try to rescue them, and the child died. Wilbur the party had to retreat, that is the hero, the hobbit, and Wilbur, because they couldn't get to the section where they needed to. It was basically underwater. They made Wilbur promise not to go back by himself because they were going to get some help to go underwater. What they mostly needed was a light spell, because they didn't have a wizard nearby. Come down to this magic user friend they had from before, who they had helped in a previous adventure. They were going to recruit this magic user to help them get a light spell to help Wilbur. Well, when they arrived at this magic user's master's, basically a wizard, tower, they found that it was under siege and the wizard had been kidnapped. They went with their friend to try to help the wizard. They got captured. And unfortunately, during that time period, due to some dice rolls, we discovered that Wilbur could not wait any longer, went by himself, and perished. So Wilbur is no more. The party does not know that yet, but Wilbur has been killed. The party did escape. It was a tough fight against a vampire with their magic user friend Esme and the wizard, whose name I cannot remember right now because I didn't go back and watch the video. I'm just looking at my notes. But in any case, we brought them to this village here where they needed to heal because somebody was really, really hurt. I think the hobbit might have been. And they could be active again on 7/15. That was my intention. I did some rolls and we discovered that, and by the way, when they escaped, they had to leave like everything. I think they had a couple of spears, but they didn't have like any armor or anything like that. The wizard didn't have a spell book. This magic user had cast her one spell, so they were basically out of luck, right? They had no tools to help them keep going. So I made some rolls and we determined that in the hex where the tower is, the wizard keeps a stash of gold and also maybe some magic items and a spell book. So they could actually, with that, they could take the tower back, hopefully. So that's where we're going to pick it up. It's going to be 7/15, and we're going to see how this goes. We're going to, again, use the mythic deck as best I can. Sometimes, let me know in the comments below if you use the mythic deck. Sometimes I don't get it exactly right, but we'll go through it. I'm also going to use the deck of signs, which I like a lot. I left the map out just to show you guys where stuff is. So again, this is where the evil cleric had them captured. By the way, there was these like ghosts coming from, I should say again, the cleric wasn't evil that captured them. The cleric is under the influence of something else, a fell god or something. And basically these wraiths and stuff were coming up from this water, were a sign of an ancient battleground, and they were taking over that cleric's keep. So what the party ultimately wants to do is take back the wizard's tower and then take that cleric's keep back, hopefully rescuing the cleric. That may involve some kind of a battle, like a chainmail battle. So we might get that far and then stop because, of course, it takes time to establish troops and stuff. But so I guess our main goal here is to get to the wizard's stash, get their stash, take the tower. After we take the tower, assemble an army or else some magic users or something to rescue that cleric or take that keep back from the evil fell god. I'll have to go back and watch. I think it was a fell god. I think I rolled and it was like a mind flayer that popped up on the thing. So I think I was treating it as some kind of a otherworldly being. As it goes, that's where we're at. Basically, let me see. I actually do have a note here. So do I say if it's a fell god? Patriarch charm by fey creature. So it's a fey creature. So it could be any kind of fey creature. It's a powerful fey creature, otherworldly creature. If we can rescue the cleric, and break the charm, then that would be good. But ultimately, what we're probably going to end up having to do is take siege to the castle, because by the time they get there, it might be too late. That's what I'm going to say, because I think that works out better narratively. But again, that's what I'm saying. We're going to see how things go. So let's take the players off the stage, because it won't be that important to have the actual player character information for us. At least not right now. If we need it, I'll pull them back on. So I'm just going to move this stuff over here so we have room for the cards. So again, to go through our players, we've got the hero, Sided. We have the Hobbit. We have their magic user friend, Esme, who's only a first level elf magic user. And then we have the wizard, who is a wizard, which is a very powerful character. And when they get the tower back, this is going to be very useful. So number one, when we're playing, by the way, we're at Chaos level 5. When you start a new session with Mythic, you start at Chaos level 5. Depending on the Chaos level, it becomes more difficult to get kind of, let's say, good answers from the deck. But what we're going to start with is we're going to establish our first scene. So the first scene is going to be the player characters have borrowed a couple of horses, I guess 4 of them, and they are going to ride out to the wizard's stash and get their stuff. That's basically the scene, if we can get to the wizard's stash safely or not. So let's see if it goes as expected. So with Mythic, you flip a card over, and we look, and it's in Chaos Factor 1 or 2 expected, Chaos Factor 3 through 9 altered. Okay, so the scene has been altered. So we're not going to be able to do exactly what we just said there because of that. So already we're having an issue. You can do this a lot of different ways. I think we'll just stick with Mythic for a second. And I guess I can put this over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw 2 cards. Actually, we're going to draw, 2 cards. And we're going to see, you can do this a lot of different ways. You put these 2 words together so we can see how it's been altered. So I don't know how hard that is to see. Waste, dispute. Oh, waste dispute. Oh, interesting. Okay, so there's some kind of a dispute that is causing them to not be able to do what they want to. Oh, you know what we're going to say? We're going to ask the deck, but is it that they've been here healing? We'll give them to the 15th so they're healed, and somehow the forces of chaos have found out and they are raiding the village. So instead of the party riding off secretly to go to the stash, are they going to have to escape this village while it's being under siege from terrible undead forces and forces of chaos? I think we're going to give that a straight 50-50 chance. So since the chaos factor is 5, we're going to draw 1 card, and if it's a yes, then that's the case. Otherwise, no. Yes. Exceptional yes. Okay, so I'm going to say an exceptional yes means that the party isn't even going to be able to consider trying to fight them off. Maybe we spend a few rounds just seeing what's there, but there's literally maybe hundreds or possibly thousands of troops, we'll say hundreds, that are raiding this small village, and it's just impossible for them to stop the raid. So the village is going to be completely wiped off the map, and the party is going to flee to the wizard's stash. So that's how our scene's being altered. So let's see. Let's get a little bit more information about this chaos horde. Right? I just keep calling it a horde, but let's see what it is. For that, I'm going to use a deck of signs. I'm going to draw 2 cards. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Fire burning, bright aroused, but we also have water eroding. That's interesting. So those are basically contradictory. To be honest, I like the first one, so I'm just going to go with it. So we're going to say that basically this, fire burning. Is this a dragon? Or it could be a wizard. You know, to go with the Fae thing, let's say that maybe it's hellhounds. So these hellhounds, these warriors, Fae warriors on chariots drawn by hellhounds, raid the village. And the party, again, they have no armor. The wizard and Bolt, the magic of Bolt don't have spells. We've got basically spears to fight these off. So we do the best we can, but we have to retreat, and the party runs. So now, because that scene did not go in our favor, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to worry about, like, do they... Well, you know what? Let's dig into this a little deeper. Do they leave with horses? I think because they were planning on leaving, I would say yes, but then again, at the same time, they got attacked randomly. So I think I'm just going to go 50-50. Did they leave with horses? No. Okay. So they actually are on foot. Now, what that means is it's going to take them, because a party on foot is going to move very slow. You only have 3 movement points a day. So I said I was just going to use the narrative, but we're going to use the map a little bit. So again, with 3 movement points a day and the forest taking 2, it's going to take us... So that would be 2 more, but we'd have a couple extras, so we can do, this would be 3, this would be day 4. It's going to take us 4 days to get to the stash. So if it's taking us 4 days to get to the stash, I think there's a pretty good chance that we might encounter a random monster. Now, we could just use the OD&D rules for that. We could also use Mythic, right? We could say, you know, if we look at our odds in OD&D, in the woods, we have an encounter on a 5 or a 6, so about 30% chance, and we're going to be out for 3 days. So that means we're probably got a pretty good chance. So let's use Mythic for it. Let's look at our chart here and say that it is, does the party have an encounter? I'm going to say it's very likely. So we're going to pull 3 cards, and if any of them are yes, then it's yes, exceptional. Oh boy, okay. That means they not only have an encounter, but they have a pretty serious encounter where possibly maybe they lose something, or they get separated, or somebody gets killed maybe. So let's actually pull 2 cards here and see. Omen revealing, warning unsettling, angel heaving hope support. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we are run down by the hellhounds. And as we're being basically, you know, encircled by them, we get a calling from above where we get support from an angelic being. However, they leave us with an omen that tells us something that's going to happen if we do not do what we need to do, which we're doing anyways. But let's say, let's pull another card to see. I'm just going to pull 1 more. What is it that... Actually, I'm going to use the Mythic deck for this. Let's get words to see what the omen is predicting if... So again, we do this. We look at these 2. I'm going to lift it up so it's easier to see. I can't see that far myself. It goes this way. Separate weather. Oh, interesting. So something's going to happen with the... So there's something going on with the weather, or that's going to happen if we don't stop this. So this is not just them forming an army of chaos. There's something else going on. They're going to literally change the weather. Are they going to make it so that effectively it becomes super, super dark all the time, like terribly, terribly cloudy skies, so that creatures that generally cannot come out in the light can come out, like vampires and even to the lesser extent, like goblins and stuff? I'm going to say that that's likely. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. Any yeses? Exceptional yes. Not only are they going to make it cloudy, they're going to make it so that the earth turns a certain way so that the sun never shines. They're going to bring ultimate darkness on the land if we do not stop them. Okay. We have this encounter. We get to the wizard's stash. So I'm going to call that scene over as we approach the stash. So that did not go in our favor. So the way this works is, as your adventure progresses, keep track of the chaos factor. Value starts at 5. Increase it by 1 at the end of a scene if the scene resulted in character setback. So we're going to increase it by 1. So we're now at chaos factor 6 as we approach the scene. So I think with all this going on, and the fact that the tower is taken, the expected scene will be that we're going to get to the stash and basically get the gold, get the treasure, and get out of here. I think we're going to head to probably that city there, which the wizard has connections or friends at. Although technically the hero and the hobbit are from this town. So maybe we'll, you know, that's our plan. We're going to go here because that makes way more sense. Because again, we're not just going to, the wizard needs the book. They need to take time to study and stuff. They're not going to just like immediately go to the tower. And well, you know, we're on foot. Actually, yeah, we're on foot. I think we're going to go to the closest place. So the expected scene is that we get the stash without anybody seeing us and we move to the closest village. So does the scene go as expected? Chaos factor 1 through 8 as expected. Yep. Okay, so we get there and we're going to travel to the nearest place, which I do actually think is this one. So that's going to take us 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It'll take us 2 days to get there. So I think the chance of an encounter is maybe 50-50 because we're in the clear. Not even, it's unlikely actually. So I'm going to say unlikely. Okay, so the chance of having an encounter would be unlikely, but that's not how we do this because the encounter is actually a negative, right? We want it to be a positive thing. So what's the chances of us getting there without a hitch? And that would be likely. Okay, and we move up 1 because we're in chaos factor 6. So we're going to draw 2 cards, and if either one is a yes, then we get there with no encounter. No? Yes. Okay, we get there with no encounter, and we get to the town. Now, here's the question. These guys have been raiding around here. So there's a chance, you know, that the town has also been raided. Again, it's been 5 days since the Hellhounds burned down that village. There is a decent chance that somebody could be here. So I'm going to say it's 50-50 because I don't really have a concept one way or the other. So again, if we look at, so is the town either, let's say, has the town been invaded by the Hellhounds? So when you're deciding what the yes answer is, it should either be the thing that adds the most drama, the most exciting thing, or the thing that's positive, if that's, you know, if that's what you're going for. So in this one, I'm going to actually make the yes question be, the yes to this answer be that, is the town safe? And I'm going to say 50-50. Well, actually, what's the likelihood that if the Hellhounds move as fast as horses, they could have got there in 3 days. So I'm going to say it's likely that the town has been attacked. So is the town safe? That is unlikely. But because we're in chaos factor 6, it's going to move up to 50-50. So 1 card, a yes, will answer us. No, the town is not safe. Okay, so we get to this town and it's under siege by the Hellhounds. Or is that the reason why? Is it under siege or is it taken by somebody? Let's draw cards here to see. Desire, wooing, infatuated romance, shadow, lurking, hitting. Okay, ooh. Okay, so this shadow lurking thing and the whole that the world's going to go darkness, we're going to say that we've got basically like our ring wraith kind of people floating around here, and that the ruler of this town, this woman, is charmed. So the question is, do we notice that before we get there? I think I'm just going to make this one a straight 50-50, which again is going to go up to likely. So I'm going to draw 2 cards. If either one's a yes, then we see signs of this before we get there. Oh yeah, yes. Oh, yes, and if the chaos factor is 8 or 9, we get a remote event. But it's not 8 or 9, so no remote event. All right, so we notice this and we're like, oh, nope, can't go there. So now we've got to retreat. Oh, let's see. That makes us question whether or not we should go to the other town because that's also fairly close. Does the party go back to their home base? Because the nearest town besides that will be through the mountains, which is a bit of a ride. So I think it's likely still because they want to know that their stuff's safe and also they know what they're walking into there. So I'm going to say it's likely that they'll go in that direction. But okay, so likely, and I'm going to move up. So 3 cards, any yeses will be, oh, shuffle. You do it after this turn. 1, 2, okay, so yes. So yes, they're going back to their town. I'm going to shuffle these in. It's a big deck. Okay, so they're going to go back to their town, which is quite a ride, and they don't have horses yet. All right. The question is... And of course, I can just decide for the party, too. I'm just kind of using the cards because I'm letting the cards tell a little bit more of the story for me. I feel like the party would want to get horses if they're going that far. So I think we're going to do a little kind of mini adventure here. The hero... Actually, I think just the Hobbit. The Hobbit is going to go into the town. Let's say the hero and the Hobbit are going to go, because since that's the name of the series, are going to go into the town, and they are going to try to secure horses. All right, so they are, you know, trained adventurers. They can be pretty inconspicuous if they go in separately, right? I think that, oh, hold on. We're going to leave that scene as it did not go in our favor because we basically couldn't get to where we wanted to go, and now we're outside this town. So since it didn't go in our favor, we're going to drop back down to 5. No, we'll go up to 7, rather. All right, so our chaos factor is now 7. The hero and the Hobbit are going to sneak into this town and try to steal horses. Well, they'll leave some gold, you know, to pay for them, but they're going to do it in a discreet manner. Or do they want to... I wonder if they should go in there and just try to buy horses. If they do that, it could be more conspicuous, but stealing horses is also bad, right? So I think they're going to go in and try to buy horses. All right, good. So we're going to go into the town and we're going to try to buy horses. So this should be interesting. This is a brand new thing that I've never used before, so let's see what happens. This is Newell dice. This is by the same person that made the Tower House, that made the D10s that I have that look like D20s. They're over there. I use them all the time now. And what this is, it's basically a more advanced way to do like a reaction check. So what you do is you roll 2 dice, you know, they're both D6s, and then the symbols on them also mean something. So you can see there that those have like a cloudy thing. That means, I'm literally just opening this up for the first time now. Uncertain or neutral. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're not going to do that until we get to the horse dealer. First, we're going to try to go into the town. So we're at Chaos Factor 5. The assumed scene is that we're going to get into the town and get to buy the horses without being disturbed. So Chaos Factor 7. I think I just said 5, but let's see. Expected setup. 1 expected. 2 to 9 interrupted. Now, interrupted is different than all. I don't know if I did it right the last time. But interrupted means something is actually going to happen. We're going to actually have something interrupt us going in there. So we're heading into the town. So it's not we get there and there's the guy we're looking for is not there. It's that we're literally stopped. So we're going to pull 2 cards here. Again. Oh, does that say cruelly suffering? Okay, well, you know what that means. That's a pretty easy interpretation. They are headed towards the town to get the horses, and they see basically some of these ringwraith type people. They are torturing or, you know, hurting innocent people. And obviously the party cannot, or the hero and the Hobbit is not going to deal with that. So even though I was going to do this mostly narratively, I think we're going to have to get into a fight here. Yeah, I think that's going to be the only way we can do it. We're going to treat these guys as whites, and let's see what we got. First of all, I'd say there's 2 probably. We're going to do this based on normal encounter stuff, based on OD&D. So whites, I mean, I guess it could be more than 2. Let's establish a few things, actually, before we do this. Does this happen while all 4 of the characters are together? I'm just going to give a straight 50-50. But we're in 7, so we up 1. So that moves it to likely. So I'm going to draw 2 cards if either one's a yes. No. Okay. So it's only the hero and the Hobbit. So there's just the 2 of them, which honestly is not a bad thing. I'm going to get my books out here for the stuff. So we're going to use Unchained. We're going to keep this super simple. So for whites, vulnerable to magic and silver. Okay. All right, so the hero is going to take that. So what we're going to do here is, because they would, they know that they don't have anything. They didn't pick up any. I mean, they got gold and stuff, but they don't have any, well, like weapons. All they have is spears. So we know that the Hobbit's not going to be able to actually hurt the Whites. Only the hero can. So the Hobbit's going to try to charge up and... maybe we're better off trying to make a distraction. Let me see how many Whites there are. Let's do that before we get too far into this, because if there's a bunch of Whites and only the hero can fight them, that might not be the smartest thing for them to do. Okay, all right, so this is 2 to 24. So instead of doing 2 to 24, because obviously there wouldn't be that many, we're going to treat it like you would in a dungeon. And the way that you do it in a dungeon in OD&D is you look at the dungeon level in which the White would appear on. Okay, they would appear on level 3 of the dungeon. And then the way I'm going to do it right now is I'm going to take the average of their levels, which happens to be 3. So that means there's 1. There's just 1 White. Okay, so that might be worth trying to fight. So there's 1 White. The hero is going to go up and basically attack it. And the Hobbit's going to try to get the innocent people away. All right. This thing's probably not expecting being attacked, so I'm going to give it a chance that it could be surprised. On a 1 or a 2, it's surprised. It's not surprised. Okay. So the hero charges up with her spear, and she is going to attack the White. So we're using fantastical combat. A hero attacking a White needs a 6 on 2d6. 11. Okay, that's easy hit. I don't know how many hit dice it has, but let's just go the other way first. A White needs a 9 to hit the hero. Misses. Okay. So now we're going to look at the hit dice of the White, because you do your level, or your hit dice in damage, I should say, not your level. So the White has 3 hit dice. Our hero is 4. So the hero charges up and cuts down this White, and the black cloak falls to the ground, and the thing's gone. Oh, which might be incredibly useful to us. All right. Very, very good. We are going to take that cloak. So if the thing has a horse at all, it probably has some kind of demonic horse, so we don't want to deal with that. It probably has a whip or something. I don't think it has any weapons that would be useful to us. We'll take it only as a disguise. So we bundle it up. So we have a disguise as a White. That's actually nice. We're going to go in now. So that was the interrupt. So now our scene progresses. I don't know why I did that. That does stay here at 7. Okay, now we continue with our scene. Now, of course, we have bought the favor of these people that we just helped, right? It's almost certain that these people are going to be have a favorable reaction to us. So let's make a roll. And we're going to give it a +2. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to adjust the dice as I see fit by 2. You do them in order. So 6 and 3. Obviously, 6 is as high as it can go. So I'm going to go 6 and 5. Which, when we look at this, that's a heart and a talkie. And I believe what that means, they even give us a little breakdown here. A few kind words may go a long way to winning this creature over. The creature enjoys nothing more than conversations. Okay, so obviously we're not going to go into that, but what we are going to say is the heart means friendly, welcoming. The 5 means diplomatic, talkative. I'm going to say that we're going to arrange for these people to buy us the horses. That way we don't even have to go into town, and we're just going to go to the outskirts and wait for that to happen. So I'm going to say, because they are locals in the town, and maybe we're going to take them with us, because now, of course, they're going to be wanted, right? So I'm going to say, because they are locals in the town, it's pretty likely that they can get a horse pretty easily. So we're going to go likely. And because I'm in 7, we're going to go +1. So that's very likely. So we're going to draw 3 cards. If any of them are yeses, we're going to get horses here. First yes is an exceptional yes. So we're going to say not only do they say yes to us, they have horses. They're basically, they own them or whatever. And we're going to get ourselves a group of horses, and we're going to be on our way. Very cool. Let's place us just outside the town. So another option that we have here is we could go off into the wilderness and just let the wizard study his spell books and stuff. But I think the goal is to get to town. I think if we can get to town, then we can kind of just narrate out some of the rest of it, like the wizard trying to take the tower back. But I think we're going to want to assemble a bit of an army based on what's going on here. So let's go to town. Let's go to town. If you're on a riding horse, you get 10 points of movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it'll take us 2 days to get to town. We are passing through some forest, but it's mostly open, so I'm going to say it's unlikely. So do we get to town safely? I think that's likely. So again, we move that up to, oh, hold on. That scene went in our favor. So we'll drop back down to 6. We're going to say it's likely that we get to town with no problem, which means we're going to draw 2 cards. 3, I shouldn't move up to very likely. So we got 3 cards. Any yeses mean we get to town, no problem. There we go. All right, we get to town, no problem. Of course, here we're going to find out that Wilbur has passed, which is kind of a bummer. And we're going to make plans to take back the Wizard's Tower. I think what I'm going to do here is, just to keep things simple, I think we're going to do this in stages. I think the wizard is going to send out messages. We're going to send out messengers to start to assemble a group of warriors. And we're going to go and we're going to siege the tower. We're going to make a siege against the tower. That probably makes the most sense, although we could probably get in there. Think about this for a second. All right, I think the simplest thing to do here is, with Wilbur having perished, that basically takes the time pressure off of my hero and Hobbit to get back. What we want to work on now is getting that Wizard's Tower. So I think what we're going to do is they're going to start to form an army, or at the very least a small raiding party, and they're going to take back the tower. And from there, we're going to form a larger army and try to fight this chaos war. So now this campaign is shifting a little bit into, we've got some wild chaos stuff going on that we're going to have to take out. Ultimately, the plan is going to be to take out this effectively temple, which was a temple of a good cleric and is now the center of chaos. So that's where we are now. We're going to shoot forward in time to the proper day. When I come back, I may roll some dice or whatever just to kind of narrate, how many troops we get and stuff like that. But we'll get that. I think the next time I play this particular scenario, we'll be going into the Wizard's Tower. That's pretty much my plan. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you think, as always. Yeah, let's see how this goes. If you've been enjoying these videos, and I hope you have, please do take a second to like the video if you haven't already. You could subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. You could also ring the bell. That way you get notifications when new videos are made. If you check the description below, you're going to find links to most of the stuff I use here. If I'm using something in the game and you have no idea what it is, or I didn't put a link, please do ask. I will do my best to find you a link. Also down there, you'll find a link to my Discord server if you want to join the community, and my Patreon if you want to support the channel. I'll talk to you soon.